I'm seeing an awful lot of anxiety right now in the last couple of days leading up to No King's Day. People are getting people are getting pretty freaked out. And I just want to help you take the temperature down a little bit. So if you are somebody that's heard some pretty scary news over the last couple of days, you are hearing rumors swirling, and you're really worried about whether No King's Day is going to be safe, whether Donald Trump is going to try and invoke the Insurrection Act. Sorry, y'all, my house is tiny and the doors are loud. Could you hang out with me for a few minutes while I talk us through some fact checking and help us kind of reorient? You know by now that the regime has nothing left but a propaganda game, right? They want to try and convince you to give up, to lay down, to go cower in your house, to hand over your rights. They want you to be afraid to exercise your constitutional rights. Actions that you wouldn't have thought twice about a year ago, you're now afraid to step out and engage in because the regime is trying to scare you shitless. All they have are threats and intimidation. They don't actually have the will, the control of the military, the consent of the populace. They don't have the capability to stop us as long as we keep resisting and insisting that America become a democracy once again. They have to rely on you giving up. That is something that requires far less expenditure of energy and coordination on their part. And if they can just get you to give up on their own, then they don't have to deal with massive resistance. The more they try and brutalize and oppress us, the more extreme and totalitarian their actions, the more resistance against them builds and the more people start to push back. So they don't want to have to engage in those actions. First of all, because it's hard for them to find willing participants. I believe we just had another high-ranking military official who resigned today. But first of all, it's far easier for Kristi Noem to slap on her caterpillar eyelashes and film some propaganda videos than to try and get the military to agree to fire on American citizens. So we're at this moment right now where their propaganda has reached a fever pitch. They are scared shitless about No King's Day. They do not want the world to see that millions and millions and millions of Americans are deeply opposed to what's happening. They do not want a visible show of public opposition from huge quantities of Americans from every corner of this country, because not only is that something that is going to make those pillars of support start to quake, okay, maybe we hitched our wagon to something that wasn't maybe we hitched our wagon to an absolute dud. We should stop betting on Trump like he's a sure thing. He tells us that the people are behind him, but we can see in the streets that the people clearly aren't, right? Trump doesn't have a mandate from the people. He does not have the consent of the governed. He is not a legitimate ruler of this country. And No King's Day is just an incredibly visible reminder of that. Plus, it also is a big morale boost for everybody, right? Millions of us coming together in solidarity. And this is one of the steps in us aggregating our power and helping people level up to more complicated acts of nonviolent resistance that are going to be more effective at eroding those pillars of support and weakening the regime. They don't want us doing any of that shit. They are really, really scared. That's why Mike Johnson is consistently crashing out, trying to claim that it's a hate America rally, which is just so embarrassing. They have to resort to the most embarrassing, easily disproven rhetoric. It's okay, you say it's a hate America rally? Cool. We will all now be showing up with American flags and Lady Liberty plastered all over our bodies because we love the Constitution. We love our civil liberties. We are really proud of our country and we are proud to live in a democracy and we want one once again. Fuck you, it's a hate America rally. No, every time the regime does something, it creates a chance for us to act in response. It creates a chance for us to invoke a backlash against them. It creates a chance for us to get control of the messaging and make them look like the fools that they are. I was going to play some clips of Mike Johnson. I just don't give a shit. I don't want to hear him. Just understand that he's freaking out. They all are. They are saying really scary things. We keep hearing these whispers of the Insurrection Act, and I agree with Heather Cox Richardson. I haven't actually seen the regime talking about it as much as I have seen reporters asking Trump about it. The question there is, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Who are you working for? What arm of the propaganda wing of state-controlled media are you working for? Why do you keep bringing up the Insurrection Act? Because it freaks people out. You know that the American people get real amped up about it. And this was actually addressed in the Indivisible What's the Plan call earlier today. Like, what happens if he invokes the Insurrection Act? And Leah, as always, had a very measured answer, just really, really thoughtful. Well, it depends on the timing of it. If he invokes it before No King's Day, well, that means we definitely have to all get out in the streets, right? There's no rebellion, there's no riot, there's nothing that would justify Trump's invocation of the Insurrection Act. We are all showing up and engaging in perfectly legal, constitutionally protected speech. We are nonviolent. We are absolutely engaging in legal behaviors. We have nothing to be afraid of. So we're going to go ahead and turn out in bigger numbers than ever. I guarantee you, if Trump tries to invoke the Insurrection Act tomorrow or the next day, like, he's going to see massive, massive response. All that's going to do is motivate people to get out in the streets even more. I think everything we are watching the regime doing right now is having the opposite of their intended impact. They are trying to chill dissent, and we're like, okay, Donald Trump, you have turned every American into somebody with oppositional defiant disorder, specifically against you. You want us to be scared and stay home? No, we're going to be out in the streets. It's that DBT opposite action, right? Except it's not that my anxiety is telling me to stay home. Well, maybe it is. Maybe it is. Let me go back there for a second. Whether it's Donald Trump or your anxiety telling you to stay home, if your anxiety is telling you to stay home, that's because your anxiety is listening to Donald Trump. Your lizard brain is listening to Donald Trump. You don't want Donald Trump to control your actions. You don't want him to have a victory over you. If Donald Trump wants you to do something, then you do the opposite. He wants you to stay home, we're out in the streets. He wants you to be afraid, we decide to find our courage. He wants you to cower and hand over your power. Fuck you, make me. This is my power. This is my country. Whose streets? Our streets. And I know I talked about this on Blue Sky, and I think my friend Charlotte in France has talked about this, and a number of other folks as well. There have been really big fears ahead of every large protest we have had this year. People have been really freaked out that Trump was going to declare martial law, declare the Insurrection Act. Donald Trump was supposed to declare the Insurrection Act after April 5th, hands off. Then it was going to happen on April 20th. Then it was going to happen on Trump's birthday, No King's Day. We ruined Donald Trump's birthday, but no, the Insurrection Act did not get invoked. No, martial law was not declared. Every protest we have had thus far has not resulted in people's worst fears being manifest. So I just want to remind you, check the facts often really works. And, this is true, like this difficult period that we're living through now. People say, Angela, how do you know that you're going to get through this? Well, because I've survived other hard things. I have survived things that have personally felt harder. I realize like this is a collective grief and struggle that we are going through as a nation, but I have personally been through things that for me were more difficult to bear. And I survived those, right? So I've gone through hard things before. I can go through hard things this time. Likewise, I've done all those protests before and they were fine. I have so many data points showing me that we were all anxious. We did the thing anyway, and it was fine. That they were trying to scare us in advance. All they had was the bluster. All they had was the intimidation. There isn't any follow through. We were fine. And so I'm taking those data points and I'm letting them shape my confidence about Saturday. And likewise, when Leah said, well, if he tries to invoke the Insurrection Act after Saturday, okay, we will cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't think that's going to happen. And if he does do something like that, that gives us a chance to have a counter move, right? Everything he does, we get a chance to respond. It creates an opening, an opportunity for us to try a new tactic, to do something different, to create a tremendous backlash for us to advance our cause. So thanks for letting me ramble about this. I just really want you to take a deep breath. We all need to take a deep breath right now. We're hearing all kinds of scary reports. People are worried about agent provocateurs. People are worried about false flags. People are worried about, this rumor that they're going to shut down part of I-5 in California and do like missile scenarios on Saturday. Like, deep breath, y'all. If Donald Trump fired missiles into peaceful protesters in LA, like, come on, let's think through that. We cannot let our fear and anxiety control us. That is giving him a win. Yeah, we have to take on some risk right now. We all have to risk it for a biscuit. And for the majority of us, that risk looks like just facing our anxiety and not letting it control us. Timothy Snyder says if you don't fight for freedom, you will die in unfreedom. Whatever the regime is blustering about wanting to do now that you are anxious about, it will be 100 times worse if we lay down and let them win. And they're not going to win because we're all going to turn out on No King's Day and keep organizing and keep resisting.